Hey everyone, welcome to Tellor Dev Call, Monday, November 27th. Um, yeah, good. It was kind of a short week. We had the holidays here in the US, Thanksgiving. So still got a lot of stuff done though. It was a great week. We're kind of heads down on the dev side. Everyone's really just focusing on we're building out the next protocol, which is um, layer. So we're kind of building an entire chain, almost just as hard of a piece as building the entire chain is building the bridge across to talk with other chains. So we're building a lot of those, seeing what we can use from other people. And it's going really well. So if you're not following along in the GitHub or if you want to help contribute, um, definitely let me know. And then, yeah, as far as stuff I'm working on too, I sent over to some of the other devs. I found Celestia's bridge, so it looks very similar to the bridge we're building. So like part of me thinks maybe we can just use their bridge. I want to see like what's structured differently in there, but it would be really, really convenient if we could like not roll our own. It might be cool because like they have a Cosmos chain. They do the same thing where they add the ECSDA signatures on the Cosmos side, and then they push it over as a block header and data, and then they do the exact same thing that we're proposing, where you sort of update the current validator sets by you have to call like a separate update validator set function. It doesn't just automatically do it. So yeah, so it should be good. I think we might be able to just use theirs, but we're gonna see. Anyway, it's almost identical to the one we built, but like I said, probably for relaying, because like once we launch this, we're gonna have to get relayers on board. If you could ideally, like, this is one of those things where like somebody's gonna have to build a standard. And then, like if you just tell relayers like here's my version, this is the standard function you have to call, this is exactly what you have to put in, it would make it probably a whole lot easier. So I'm not really one for standards, but maybe we can talk with some people and have a talk about standards, which is never fun. But on the other thing, have potentially it's like it's not another user, they just want another feed, right, Spuddy? What's going on there?
There is a user. I don't yeah, I don't know if it's like sometimes projects want to be secret about stuff, so I don't know. But they want to use they want to I'm actually even still trying to figure out what spot price feed they need exactly for their contracts, and I think maybe they're trying to figure it out too. So
Wrapped OETH to ETH, right?
yeah, but then they said it would be they were going to use OETH ETH and convert it with the Chainlink ETH/USD price, and then wrapped OETH, wrapped OETH ETH, and then convert it with Chainlink's ETH/USD, and then the wrapped OETH ETH ratio wouldn't need to update as often as ETH/USD would, so that's why Tellor would be a good use case for that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, so what they're doing is I think it's part of it's like a liquidity fork where they have it backed and wrapped OETH. I don't think there's a Chainlink pair. So
yeah,
and I don't think there's plans for a Chainlink pair. So how do they get, basically they need a wrapped OETH to US dollar price, but they know that Tellor can be like slightly more expensive. So they're thinking about just using the free ETH US dollar Chainlink price, and then we just update the wrapped ETH price, which should barely ever move. It's like,
right.
that one
It's
yeah, it should be very, very stable, barring some catastrophic situation. So we should be able to help them out, which is cool.
and it's funny because in Telia, we're gonna have to use our ETH/USD like off-chain calculation to do wrapped ETH. Well, I got to figure out what they need
Well, I think,
exactly.
yeah, we'll see. And the bigger question for them is like, part of me wants to make it a TWAP type thing.
Yeah,
Just because, like, let's be honest, there is no big Rapto ETH market. that we can pull data from. So if you're on like, you know, some Uniswap pool with $100,000 in liquidity, that's just not safe. Like somebody easily throw that whole pool. So we should just make it slow for them. But yeah, knock it out, get them a spot price, and then we can go from there. Get that up for them.
Yep.
Cool. Dan, or anything else, buddy?
I don't think so. I feel like I'm still hungover from Thanksgiving, trying to catch up.
Cool. Yeah. Dan, how's things?
Pretty good. I have one more function to write a test for, or fix the test in the registry module.
Nice.
And then should I move on to trying to start the end-to-end test or keep going with the function tests?
Well, I mean, you can knock out the registry ones for sure. And then, yeah, if you want to play around with trying to do an end-to-end test, we can talk about it too. But
okay.
Give it the old college try.
Sounds good.
Nice. Yeah. Akram, how's things?
Good. I'm gonna be working on Tellor Layer. Trying to finish up the execute. That's the only thing that's left there. So.
And Spuddy, did you still need help on Telliot, or?
Probably.
All right,
but
well, let us know if you figure it out.
I don't know I wouldn't know what to tell Akram now though, so I'll reach out later, Akram, maybe.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan, how's things?
Good. Also suffering from turkey hangover, but we'll be catching up on Interchain Academy stuff, and we're getting to a point where we're working with some front end stuff. So I want to try to use that as a springboard for messing with Cosmos front end stuff that ideally can just port over the data feed onto.
Nice. Yeah, sounds good. So Tim, how's things?
Good. Last week I started on some basic transition and token bridge contracts, and I'm picking up where I left off on those. And those are kind of dependent on, or no, the token's dependent on our data bridge. So I'm kind of just imagining where we have the design so far and where Celestia works so far. Like,
yep.
But yeah, I'm working on filling those in and writing some tests for those two contracts.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll do like a little sprint on each piece over the next few weeks, just to try and really knock out. Hopefully, you know, my goal is by, you know, mid-December we can have something up for Spuddy to run, like a little node, and he can be submitting some transactions, and just we can start, and then he can host a node, open up some endpoints for Ryan. Ryan can start making a front end, and, you know, looking at some of those things. So hopefully it can start, like, we can start stop being a blocker to a lot of the other pieces that have to get built to make it kind of complete. So, but no, that sounds good too. And then, yeah, other thing, I will be on Eat Sleep Crypto podcast next Tuesday, so be prepared for that announcement. It was like a Twitter space, so it's from Nate. I hung out with him a bunch of DevConnect, super cool guy. Yeah, any questions, Ryan?
There was one question about, do we have an ambassador program? We want to address that.
What is that? I think, like, what is, Spuddy, you probably know better. What's like an ambassador? Chainlink has the ambassador programs, right? They used to.
I think we used to do it with some of the community members about, like, telling them to, like, go to other Discords and, like, talk about Tellor and stuff like that. But we kind of stopped doing that because it wasn't really fruitful, because like it's kind of like when people come into our Discord and they just post like this big like pitch. It's kind of like a door-to-door salesman
Yeah.
type of feel to it, where it's like completely like not, it's like solicitation in other people's Discords. We kind of just don't do that because we're trying to meet the developers, and a lot of the times like the developers don't hang out in the public Telegram and the public Discord very much.
Very true. So, no. Cool. Anything else? Or
That's it.
no? Yeah. Other things? Anybody hot takes on CZ? So, nobody.
Flight risk.
I think he's the most beloved scapegoat of all time. He's like, they're like, oh, CZ's gonna step down. We're gonna pay billions of dollars. Everything's okay.
A lot of money.
Yeah, Brenda and I got to pitch CZ for like 10 minutes as part of Binance Labs.
In person?
No, in 2019
We just had a video call with him, and it was yeah, it was cool. Gave us some feedback. He was still like, he was super quick, like he knew what we were trying to do, but he was very into like, how can we make money off of this? Like his feedback was like, how can we get this listed and make money off of it, and it was like his thinking went straight there, which was cool. But yeah, and then but I mean, this was the big shoe to drop as far as I can tell. So like the crib, we're clear for takeoff, I think. Like this is like yeah, like I mean seriously, like like, they've gone after everyone. Like it's like there's no bigger players that you can really try and take down or settle with. Like it's just they've sort of attacked them. Well, they could. There's one, Richard Hart, who is still avoiding SEC.
Yeah, apparently they can't find him. I saw that on Twitter this morning. Like there was like some news that they literally just can't find him to serve him with a subpoena.
So good. But anyway, on that note, Fetch Oracle is a Tellor fork, and it's live on Pulse Chain mainnet. The guys it has nothing to do with it is Tellor with a different name. It's the like kind of a carbon copy of it, but like we don't really have anything to do with it other than that it's the code that we wrote. But that said, they're doing a great job. They're they forked our code. They've asked us a lot about running it. They built a bunch of monitoring tools they're going to be sharing with us. And if you want to go be a reporter over there or go try and break them, because you know how Tellor works, more power to you. Go over there and attack the system. But if you hear anything, that's what that is. If you hear how it's related to Tellor, that's it. And then also the other big oracle that launched last week, or launched their token last week, was Pith. Probably getting a lot of questions how Tellor is different than Pith. Fortunately, I did a deep dive on it like 2 weeks ago. Pith has like a bunch of traders and financial firms who they whitelist to be the trusted signers on an oracle. So basically, Jump, Virtu, Wintermute, all those guys. I don't know if they're actually in there, but I'm guessing these are the high frequency traders who are the trusted financial institutions. You trust them to sign a price feed. You can pull it into your smart contract.
Yeah, it's a pull model, right? Like you have to you include the Oracle data pull with like some other transaction.
Yep. So like a pull model is like they just like publish via their API. Here's a bunch of signed transactions with the price. You can then go to that API and grab it, and your smart contracts validates that those were correct signatures, that this is your new price. And so that's the pull model. It works really, really well. Obviously, the hard problem that we're going to be using like a pull model for Layer, it makes a lot of sense. The hard part is like keeping track of the validator set in a decentralized way, as well as handling like any sort of upgrades or forks or anything like that. If you're centralized, though, you can just hand wave over those problems. You don't have that problems. You have a whitelisted admin on top of handling all that stuff. So you know, like anything that we're like dealing with in layer that's sort of like one of these harder decentralization issues, like they can hand wave away. Anyway, but they're not decentralized at all. They would it,
And
albeit
they don't claim to be.
They don't claim to
be
be,
decentralized
right.
at all.
It's a super interesting, like the whole space has shifted. Like from 4 years ago, where like Chainlink, at least you had to claim to be decentralized or else no one would take you seriously. But now it's like about distribution, or I don't even know what it is. Yeah, it's about speed. But if you hear about them, that's how we compare. We try and still be decentralized. So a little bit. Anyway. Yeah. And then they're big with, you know, if we wanted to use their model for like the pull oracle, they use like layer 0 style stuff for pulling it in, which is another method. But yeah, this is more on the standard stock we'll get to later. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Back to y'all next week.